I have two simple videos to dare today. They're long overdue, but it's just like that I don't have a lot of space, so that's why I've done less videos lately, or lives, whatever you want to call this. So, this is to do with something I had a conversation on. I don't know. I've said it throughout my channel that for me, I do not see black men's faces. That's very masculine. I think their faces are very feminine. And a major reason, I've said several reasons, really. For one, let's start. I am a black woman who has a black mother. My mother is more ethnic than me. She's a dark-skinned, beautiful, exotic black woman. And I was raised to see that since the beginning. Now, you have to remember, for me, the first woman I probably saw was a dark-skinned black woman. So that kind of sets the frame. And, I didn't grow up around dark-skinned black men. I was taught that, the ideal beauty of women was dark-skinned black women, the full lips, the high cheekbones, the round, soft, round shaped face, like the soft round nose, and the almond shaped eyes, no brow ridge, not really much body hair, things of that nature. Very feminine features. And to me, that's what a lot of black women have, is just generally very feminine features. And for me, it's just like with black men, they have the same features. And you have to remember, for me, I didn't grow up around dark-skinned black men. So I didn't grow up seeing men with faces with high cheekbones, round, soft nose, full lips, and, almond-shaped eyes. I didn't grow up with that. I grew up with men having sharper features. And, oh, there are comments. Lots of comments. But I grew up with sharper features, being more masculine, and so that's what I find more ideal. But oh, there it is. Okay, so XOXO. I don't see black men as feminine or masculine. I see them as animalistic. Honestly, the things that black men try to associate with masculinity is usually them being downgraded. And if you think of it generally for black people, that just applies to us all by racist people. Like, racist people often try to associate us with a lot of like negativity and being like, more animalistic and things of that nature. That has nothing to do with manhood. And that's what I was trying to explain. Like, to me, it's not. I just don't see anything that implies masculinity. Now, I understand people maybe associate with black men. Maybe they see more masculinity. There's some women out there, I've spoken to them, and they do see black men as masculine, maybe more masculine than other races. For me personally, I look at other races of men, and generally, they don't have the same face as black men. For example, Indian men don't have that face. Mixed race men don't even have as feminine of a face as, full black men. White men obviously don't. They have the exact opposite. They have very masculine faces. And then, like, Hispanic men, Arab men, basically most men don't have the kind of face a black man has. And for me, that's why when I look at black men, I see very feminine features. And to me, they look very feminine. Also, other things about them look feminine, not just their face. Like, their face is feminine, but their body isn't that masculine. And I say that, like, not all of them, but some of them, their lower half is it's kind of feminized. And for me, I like men who are actually shaped like men, like, not, bigger down there. I'm saying, like, their thighs, butt, that region is like, tends to be more feminine. And as a person who likes men, I don't like to see feminine features. Oh, more comments. So black men are either too feminine or too masculine. Pretty brown girl says. I don't know. I don't really see them as very masculine, honestly, but I could see, I guess, how some people might see that. Um, XOXO, we get that because of black men, they're animalistic and annoy society. Yeah, I know. Like, I think like the image of black men is often seen as, like violent and things of that nature. So they associate that with masculinity. But that's not masculinity. That's just being seen as, the lowest of the low, which isn't good. And I don't appreciate that even as a black woman who's not attracted to black men. But I mean, like, as a fellow person of the black race, I don't appreciate that. But it is what it is. I mean, you shouldn't embrace that kind of image, but you find a lot of black men embracing that image of black men. Travels of a Black Rose. Black men call black women masculine all the time. I bet they won't like if we started calling them feminine, which they are, in my opinion. That's what I mean. Generally, for me, I don't even tell black men that I see them as feminine most of the time, unless we're really getting into my sexuality and preference. But what usually happens is they start talking about how black women look like black men. And I have to always say, well, the only reason there's a similarity is because you look too much like a black woman. You look too feminine. And then they get upset. And then I start pointing out their features. I mean, like, last I checked, nobody was trying to make their lips thinner to look more feminine. No one's trying to make their cheekbones all, like not non-existent to look feminine. Those aren't feminine features. Like when you do your makeup and you contour your face and you actually like put lipstick on and lip gloss and all the other tricks that you do to make your lips look bigger and to angle your eyes a certain way and so forth, those are black features. So I mean, like when people try to enhance their features, it's usually actually more in a sense of features that black women tend to have. So to me, I mean, like black features to me are very feminine. It's just what it is. XOX. I see them as children minus the innocence. Oh, I don't know. And black, I mean, pretty brown girl, Ari. White men are the definition of masculine. Hispanic men are also masculine. Asian men are feminine to me, especially Korean men. Yeah, I don't know. To me, Asian men, if you look at Asian men's faces and black men's faces, you wouldn't say there's too much like difference from their female counterparts. Asian men, this is why, when they transition, like transsexuals, it's easier for Asian men to transition, and it's easier for black men to transition. That's just how their faces are. It is what it is. I don't know. Like a lot of the time, when I was like talking about transgender people, black men wouldn't appreciate it because it was like I would point out that there's a similarity here. But at this point, how am I supposed to ignore that there's a similarity here? It's like it is what it is. And Shortcake says, oh, she's talking to Black Rose. Use that line 100%. Um, Travels of a Black Rose. I agree with that as well. And pretty brown girl Ari. Black women do tend to have big, huge butts, but the big black cock is a myth. White men usually have more girth to their genitals. I don't know. I've never been with a black man, so I wouldn't know. To me, like I said before, how I feel about black men and down there, it's not pretty to see that stuff. But what I was talking about more so with the body type is just that I notice a lot of black men tend to have a bigger bottom and thighs, which is a feminine trait. Like, I mean, I just noticed that to me, like, I prefer a man with broader shoulders and a narrower body elsewhere. that's how men are supposed to be. Like they're more so supposed to be shaped more like a T, basically. But they're kind of like shaped like an hourglass, which is feminine. I mean, like if that's not feminine, I don't know what's feminine at that point. Shortcakes K. Only certain black men are masculine. It's very rare. I don't know. Like I can say that some mixed men are masculine when I look at them, but it's just like black men. I don't see it, and it's like I'm not saying it in a way to attack them because they always think I'm saying it in a way to attack them, but it's not. It's just like, well, if your face is exactly like black women's in the sense of having fuller lips, higher cheekbones, almond shaped eyes, and a really soft nose that has no bump in it, and no body hair of any sort. I mean, like these are total feminine features. I don't understand how I'm supposed to not see that. I mean, we all know that a nose bump and thin lips and really teeny tiny eyes is not feminine features. But I mean, if you say the truth, that softness is not masculinity and sharpness is more masculinity, people act like I make them have that face, or I'm trying to be attacking black men. I'm not like angry at black men. I don't even hate black men. It's just kind of like an observation kind of situation. And honestly, what I don't get is why does my personal opinion on black men being feminine really a big issue when there are plenty of women, plenty of black women, white women, Hispanic women, Asian women who actually think that black men are masculine. So I mean, like my personal opinion really doesn't matter. Oh, more comments. I'm sorry. Pretty brown girl Ari. I'm too young to be knowing all this. Short cakes K. Are big black. Some are big black. I mean, some are black big men. Are some of black big men are big. My last two was. Oh, I get what you're talking about. It's not a myth, lol. And even my mix X was nice size. I don't know, like when it comes to size and things like that, I honestly I've experienced because I've been with a guy who was part Asian, like distantly, and they were really big. And, for me, I don't really like that big, so it wasn't a good thing at all. It was a terrible situation. Felt sorry mostly for him more than me. And that's a personal situation, so. But generally, I always notice that, like, for me, with white men, people always try to say that white men have smaller, packages, I guess you could say. And I always am like, I've never really experienced that. I mean, like, it's been so many times I've been trying to, like, basically filter out the men that are bigger. And it's hard to do, honestly, for men who are white, because a lot of them are just a lot bigger than average, in my opinion. And average is between 4 and 7 inches, but you always find people who are like 8, 9 inches. Like, uh, I don't know. I don't know where I left off here. There are comments. Oh, right there. Pretty brown girl Ari. I know because I watch porn and see dick pics. And black men do have long penises, but it doesn't have much girth, so I don't consider them to be well endowed. I don't know. The first time I watched porn that had black men in it, because usually what I would do, I just watched regular porn. I mean, it was just regular porn, and they're white men in it. And I didn't know that I had to specifically choose that. And I was like maybe 17, I think, or something like that. And I saw a black man trying to basically, have sex with a white girl. And I literally was confused for like maybe 2 minutes. I think it was a while. I was confused. I thought that it was like crap being shoved in and out of her vagina. And I was so confused as to what was going on. Like for me, I like I said, whenever I've never wanted to see a black man down there because to me it's not. I don't even pay attention to the size because their stuff down there doesn't really look like a penis to me. It looks like something I basically push out of my butt. So, I mean, yeah, to me, I could never imagine myself wanting to be with a black man in that regard. But I was just thinking of them with clothing on. With clothing off, I mean, like, oh God, it's just another thing. But yeah, I mean, yeah. And someone else, shortcakes. Okay, understand what you're saying. 100%. Shortcakes, K. I'm going to be opening myself to more mixed biracial and overseas men only. Yeah, I don't know. For me, if I was overseas, I would definitely just prefer um more so like mixed race men, honestly, overall. Like I've always said, if I my family was in Dominican Republic over America, I would probably be with more whiter looking mixed race men. I generally do prefer a more Euro look than an Afro look. So, like, if someone's like 80% Spanish and 20% black, that would work really well for me. Because I do like black people's hair and things of that nature. That's why I always like men who have curly hair. Like, I've never been with a man who didn't have curly hair, being completely honest. I never really pay attention to that. It just naturally happens for me. Shortcakes. Okay. Me too. Me too. Korean and Blasian. I think you're responding to someone. And short cakes K. No offense. Um. Okay, here. Pretty a brown girl Ari. I like white guys with big packages, and there are a lot of white men that are bigger than average. A famous white guy that was European had a huge bulge. It was thick and long. Oh, I don't see any comment deleted. Pretty brown girl. Um, I just saw this comment. Yeah, yeah, it's there. I think. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Like for me, I think it's just a myth, honestly, with white men and black men. I think any race, honestly. Like I said, in my experience, I've been with an Asian man who was way too big, and it was a problem because I don't like bigger men. And I mean, I've seen some people who are Indian too who were pretty big too, and I just think that people like to assume just because someone's shorter that they're smaller, but I don't really think that people who are shorter are smaller. I knew one guy, he was white, but he was like 5 foot. And it was like, I think he was like maybe 7 or 8 inches or something. He was pretty on the bigger side with length, but more like really girthy. And I mean, like, people would always assume just because you're short, like, you're really, really short, that means that you must be, someone who is less endowed. But that's just not how it works at all. That's like assuming a short woman has small breasts. Like, that's not how that works at all. Going back to topic, I mean, like, I just feel like many of the time it's like people don't, like, with me, it's always like people assume that I have to have some kind of preference towards Black men or like some kind of reverence or understanding of their attractiveness. And I don't understand that. I don't even have to, like, sometimes people act like if I don't recognize their attractiveness, I must hate them. I don't even hate them. That's the thing. It's like, I don't hate them. I don't have any issue with them besides, like, issues of harassment. But other than that, if they act like decent people, I have no issue with them. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to see an attraction towards someone I'm not attracted to. It's not going to make me all of a sudden see them as masculine because raised, I wasn't raised in a society that was catering to dark skinned Black men's masculinity. And I mean, like, to me, I think some people from the Black community and things of that nature, maybe they were, but maybe, like, for some people, don't they realize, like, some people don't think that other races of men are masculine, right? Don't they understand that? Like, they were raised to not see those people as masculine. So, can't they understand if someone was raised the other way around? Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, why can't you understand, like, that people have different perspectives and different preferences without hating anyone? But yeah, it's just like I feel also like a little bit that Black men have this big insecurity. And like they to some extent want to try to overshadow their insecurity about, them being feminine by trying to pretend that Black women are masculine. That's why they say that, because they want to redefine their features as being masculine. But at the same time, it's like, I don't see anybody trying to have the opposite of features that you have. When people do plastic surgery, when people do makeup, they're trying to make their features look more like yours. Like I said, softer and rounder. So I don't understand how or why, like, people buy into it, especially like Black women, like dark skinned Black women who are like beautiful and exotic, and have like all the ideal features. Like, why would you buy into them trying to, knock you down just because they feel inferior about this? You know, and I think in part that's another trigger for a lot of men who are Black with interracial dating, honestly, and white men. Oh, there are more comments. I heard about Middle Eastern men are good and bad. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever been with a Middle Eastern man, honestly. Jewish, but not Middle Eastern. Pretty brown girl, Ari. Just, okay, okay. Plus, they literally just put Michael B. Jordan as the sexiest man alive. He's not cute. He literally looks like, oh, this thing keeps moving. I'm sorry. He literally looks like a fish. He has very feminine features. Oh, yes, he does. Like, I think, though, it's generally normal that they generally have those features. He has all the features I listed: the almond shaped eyes, full lips, the soft nose. I mean, like, that kind of nose that he has is like, I would love to have the roundness and kind of like if he looks to the side, he's not gonna have one nose bump. He's not gonna have any sharpness. His face is gonna be just basically like a girl's. And I mean, I don't know. Like I feel like a lot of the time with attractive black men, they are basically what they would be if they were women would be just basically pretty girls. Like they would make really beautiful girls, and they have like faces that would be very similar to a pretty girl's in my opinion, but they don't actually have anything masculine in their face. And that's my thing. It's like I can't really be expected to find anything attractive in someone who's pretty or looks like a girl. I mean, they can look as beautiful as they want, but if they don't have masculinity, I have no part in it, you know. But like I said, there are black women who do prefer that, and I mean, like, to each his own. I'm not going to knock black women who have that preference. That's them. That's fine with them. Travels of a Black Rose. And many black men try to be masculine, but it's toxic masculinity, which isn't masculine to me. It's just being an asshole. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like, honestly, I do notice like black men get aggressive. Dark skinned black men get aggressive quickly, and they think that we're supposed to all just handle their way of not being able to control themselves, you know, and try and intimidate others because they're a human being who needs to be controlled by probably a certain system or things of that nature. And then they get upset about the issue of being in prison longer terms and being in prison, um, being in prison, because of their bad behavior and things of that nature. And it's like, well, if you controlled yourself and didn't just excuse controlling yourself because you have dark skin and you're a man, um, then you would actually be outside with the rest of the population and treat it like the rest of us. But instead, you want to present yourself as wild and like you can't control yourself. Somebody's going to control you for you. And that's how any like safe, healthy society is going to treat you. XOXO. Michael B reminds me of a donkey. Big ass jaw. I never really paid attention to his jaw. Like I said, his high cheekbones to me kind of like offset his jaw, which just happens with a lot of black men. Their face to me is like their cheekbones are round, so then you can't really see the jawline too much. So for me, it's like I don't see, I can't really see the masculinity because it's covered with too much femininity. Shortcakes K. Right, that's good. A lot of people and content creators, people in Black YouTube, are very anti-Black against anti-Black community, and it's sickening. The women and men are. I'm pro for whoever you want to be with. So true. Shortcakes. Honestly, for me, I am very pro. I'm pro Black love for who wants it, Black man, Black woman, and I'm pro swirling for Black men, pro swirling for Black women. I just am like, find love where you need to find it. And I feel like that should not even be much of a concern. And the reason it's a concern to some people is because they have their own insecurities about being Black. Otherwise, this wouldn't even be an issue. Pretty Brown Girl Ari, they were about to put Michael B. Jordan as Superman. They were going to do a black Superman. They hype up black, they hype up Michael B. Jordan, Idris Elba, and many other black men. Black men are overrated. Oh, yes, they are. I just feel like I said, like, it's an issue just where people assume everyone's going to have the same preference. Like people should be allowed and respected to have their opinion as it is without being upset that someone doesn't agree, As long as everybody's respectful, that's all that should matter. Shortcakes K, I tell people date who you like, but stop slandering black women and each other. So true. Like for me, like I don't like to disrespect either because honestly, it's like black people, we are black. Why would we disrespect other black people when, to me, it's like I'm disrespecting myself if I put another black person down for being black, obviously, whether it's a black woman or a black man. It goes right back at me. I'm a black woman. So I can't go after someone else for being black. That just doesn't make sense to me. Whatever the gender is, it just doesn't make sense. And honestly, I like to have a good image of black people, black men and black women. We don't need to try and push forward a bad image of black men or a bad image of black women because when we do that, it makes the whole black race look bad. And then people of other races look at us and laugh. I don't appreciate that. I want black people to be seen in a good light. Just like other races, like they don't put forward their negative side of themselves, either male or female. They don't like to put their trashiest people and say, this is our people. You know what I mean? They want to actually show a good image of themselves, so they don't do that. We're the only people who kind of do that, and it's really embarrassing that we do that. Pretty Brown Girl Ari, Michael B. Jordan has a round face, and Idris Elba looks like a sloth. Idris Elba, like I said, I just don't like his nose and his lip structure. It's like I said, it's very feminine, and his eyes are actually very feminine. They're a little too large. And then, honestly, to me, dark skin, and I know some people might find this odd, I guess, or whatever, because how can skin tone? But to me, I kind of feel like dark skin is more feminine. I just do. It just looks to me more feminine, and to me, white skin looks masculine. And I said white skin, not light skin. And there's reason for that. But yeah, to me, I just generally, I don't know, like when I see darker skin, it to me just represents more femininity. Sure, Cakes K. Idris Elba is fine. You tripping brown girl, Ari. You just don't like black men because every white man isn't fine. I do not find Idris Elba attractive at all. I mean, like personally, I wouldn't. To me, honestly, when I look at him, I kind of see my grandma. Being completely honest, just saying. Um, but I mean, I don't think all white men are attractive. But actually, honestly, I've said this before. On a ratio of white men and on a ratio of mixed men, who do I find more attractive? It would be mixed men. There are more mixed men that are attractive, in my opinion, on a racial even than white men. But the thing is, there are way more white men in this country. So why the heck would I go with like 2% of the population when I could go with 60%? You know? So like for me, in my dating pool is basically like 80% of the population, which would be 60% white men, and that would be 20% Hispanic men. Every now and then it's a mixed man, but it's rare. It's not very often because they don't come very often. Pretty brown girl Ari. I'm sorry, but if you think Idris Elba is cute, you have a bad taste in men. Also, of course, not every white man is fine, but most white men are. I don't know. Like I have a different preference, but I don't find Idris Elba attractive either. I agree with you on that. Shortcakes K, it's environment and society. Honestly, like I said, maybe shortcakes, you grew up with men that look like Idris Elba more often, and so therefore that's more your ideal. For me, like I said, I did not grow up with many men that look like Idris Elba. I didn't grow up with men that look like dark-skinned black men. And honestly, kind of was actually raised to kind of have a bit of a fear towards them. I grew up more with mixed men and white men and Hispanic men. Now, the Hispanic men, this is the thing about Hispanic men, and this is how you know. For me, I don't prefer men because I think one is better than the other or anything, because people always think that. But for me, it's not the case because with Hispanic men, I was always raised very negatively against them. My mother does not like Hispanic people. So, I mean, if I had the choice, I would rather prefer black men over Hispanic men, because if I ever settle down with a Hispanic man, I'm really going to get it. Like, my kids are going to probably not be accepted and it's going to be a mess. So, for me, I mean, like, I just point that out because a lot of people always think people who don't prefer black men or black people, it's because they think black people are less than. I don't think black people are less than. I was taught quite the opposite. And, I tried not to have that idea that black men are, better than Hispanics or anything like that. I try to think that, like, everybody's equal. But I'm just saying, like, as far as my family and acceptance, I would be much more accepted to be with a black man than a Hispanic man. Just honestly. Um, The next comment is Shortcakes K. Pretty brown girl and Ari. No, young lady, you have bad taste. Most of my exes are very attractive, and I haven't even dated enough to know the difference. You not even 23 or 21 yet. I have great taste. Like I said, people have different tastes and different preferences. So, I mean, I don't judge either of your preferences. Personally, for me, like I said, I've never really been attracted to dark skinned black men. Yeah, like, I don't even think I'm attracted to Ethiopian men who are dark skinned. And I find Ethiopian men attractive, but I don't find the dark skinned ones attractive. Like I said, to me, dark skin is just to me in my mind goes straight to the women in my family. And so then it's a feminine trait. And not just the women in my family, but also like dark skinned like beauties, like for example, um, like Lupita or like Gabrielle Union. Like, to me, they just, I don't know. It's just like the whole thing about them is just more ideal as them being darker skinned to me. It just kind of like holds their whole femininity in a nice, like, I don't know, like package, I guess you could say. But yeah, um, XOXO, fuck that. Black men ain't shit. I don't know. Like I said, I don't find black men attractive. So I agree with you on that. Shortcakes K. That brown girl, brown Ari, most white men aren't sorry, not sorry. You may be anti and sound like it. I remembered a lot your past comments. You need to date all kinds before prejudgments, the ones that in college such career. Um, I like I said, honestly, I have to say no. I think that people have their own personal preferences, shortcakes. Honestly, the way I see it is, would we say that you need to date women and you need to date all genders and things of that nature because you don't have a good enough selection to understand what's beautiful before you make a judgment? Like, everybody has a preference. And like, I can also say that honestly, I don't understand what kind of person finds a black man attractive. To me, I find it very weird. And sometimes I think that you kind of are attracted to femininity, honestly. Like I said, I kind of feel like black men have, they just have. I can't point out one feature on these people that actually is masculine. And I've asked this several times. What masculine feature does a black man have? But you guys always start just naming people's names, and then I just start pointing out all the feminine features they have on them. And then you guys get angry at me. And it's like, I don't understand. It's not like it's incorrect or it's a lie. It's not a lie. So I just never understood, like, why you guys always act all upset because people can't find your preference attractive. Like, I don't care if you don't find white men attractive. Honestly, I enjoy I enjoy being with white men. Okay, I just would be like, oh my god, it would be a nightmare to me if I was with a black man. Honestly, that would be the worst thing ever. I've always said, um, I won't get into that, but like, with all the harassment, it makes you think like if anything happened, it would really, really mess you up. Like for me, I just would never want to be with a black man. It's cringeworthy to me. And I just honestly think like it's just weird to me that people who like black men, it's almost like they feel like they're not valued enough for themselves or they don't really feel they're beautiful because why does it matter what other people think? That's how I feel. XOX. Oh, Elba has a long face. Oh, yeah, he does. But that doesn't even help him. Like I said, just look at his nose, his eyes. He has a soft brown nose, and his lips are full. And this is another thing. I hate full lips. Now, I hate full lips on anyone, but on black men, they have the biggest, juiciest lips that make them basically like when I would try and kiss a guy with fuller lips, and he was like Puerto Rican descent. He's white looking, but he had black features, like blonde hair, blue eyes, a white person, but with fuller lips. And I felt like I was kissing a girl. And I thought, because he was my first kiss, it was like a long time ago. And I remember thinking, something's wrong, or I didn't like, and it was just all wrong to me because it felt like kissing a girl. It was like so soft. And that's my thing with black men, it's like it would be even softer than that. Because their lips are even bigger than that. They're bigger than mine. I mean, I kind of think of my lips as being a feminine feature. Why would I want a man who has twice as feminine of a feature as mine? Like, that doesn't make sense. And then on so many other levels, when it comes to me personally, facially, with black men, it's like their features are always more feminine, in my opinion, than mine. So it's like, I really don't like that. I really don't like that. It just, to me, I don't want you being, it, it doesn't satisfy my idea of a man, basically. But yeah, Shortcakes K. It's the position in our communities. Dark skin. I date all shades. That's nice. Oh my god, there's so many comments. I can't respond to all these. Uh, Pretty brown girl, Ari. Any girl that doesn't find most white men attractive has bad taste in men. White men make men of other races look average or below average. I don't know. Like I said, to me, I do not. I see white men as attractive, but I can see other races as attractive too. Honestly, for me, I always like white men who are darker rather than lighter. That's just how I am. I You have to remember for me, there are some things for me that I generally like men who are like browner, but not really like black. But then I always worry, like I said, with Hispanic men. I have been with Hispanic men, but not often. And the first time I was like, oh no, is he going to be too dark down there? Like, if his penis looks like shit, I mean, like, I'm not fucking him, basically. Because, I've heard that sometimes I can be attracted to mixed men, right? And when I'm attracted to mixed men, I always wonder because some people say that mixed race men still are darker down there and they basically have a shit dick. And like for me, I do not like obviously a man who basically looks like he has feces attached to his crotch. I mean, like that's just unattractive. And so, like, to me, that's mainly my issue with darker people. White men, I don't have to worry about that. But when it comes to the face and the body and stuff of that nature, I kind of feel like they're just as attractive, especially if they're like Southern European and are like Italian or Greek or something, as someone who's like Arab or North African or even like Indian or something. Those are generally like my preference of all preferences. It's like Indian, Middle Eastern, North African, things of that nature. But Southern European men are included too. White men will always be the most attractive men. I can say this that white men in this country will always be the majority of, you know, men that are attractive in this country because other populations they just don't compare, honestly. There's not enough of them, honestly. And honestly, culturally, I just have always felt like white men I can relate way much more with than, for example, Hispanic men or other foreign men. I mean, I have an American culture. So for me, how I was raised, the Black American culture and the white American culture are basically one and the same. So, I mean, like, I basically, have more commonality with white American men. But this has a lot to do with why my dating history is generally white men, but sometimes it is Hispanic men too. Um, Travels of a Black Rose. Idris Elba is not on my radar, no attraction to him whatsoever. Not because he is black, just don't like his features. Exactly. Like I said, I don't like his features either. It's just like um his like I said, his eyes, his nose, his lips. Trying to kiss someone like that would just feel like you're kissing a whole girl. Really seriously. You'd be just feeling like you're kissing a whole girl. XOX. I do Asian and white Hispanic is a step above black. I don't know, like to me, yeah, I generally don't like that I like Hispanic men, honestly, because of my how I was raised, but I do like Hispanic men. So, a major thing that I don't like about Hispanic men is that they're so short, though. That's my main issue with Hispanic men. They're just short, and it's more of a problem. When someone is so short and dainty, it's a problem to me because like I said, I like masculinity when it comes to the physique and the structure of a man. And so the shorter and smaller you look, the less of a man you look. Also, added to it, I've heard studies actually show that shorter men are actually more likely to be homosexual than taller men. Studies have actually shown that. Just saying. But, I just don't really, I really don't like to just say I only will date this. I try to keep my options open as much as my attraction will let me. I'm not going to open myself up to a 70-year-old man. I'm not going to open myself up to a woman. I'm not going to open my like preference to like dark skinned black men. If I have no attraction, there's nothing we can work with. here, you know. But if I have attraction to, then I can, you know, then I'm fine with it. I'm not going to judge anyone off their race or background or anything of that nature. To each their own. America chose Idris Elba. One of my exes looked like The Rock. I don't know. You know, The Rock is mixed, but I still wouldn't find him attractive. And that has to do with the fact that he's mixed with Pacific Islander and black. And I find neither of those things attractive. So I guess that's why. Shortcakes. Oh, okay, I get it now. Travels of a Black Rose. It's Deanna's preference. Black men announce them all the time. Yeah, honestly, to me, I think everybody should be expected to, you know, have their preferences respected. Honestly, with black men, when they have their preference, I think that they should be respected and things of that nature. Now, one thing about it is that I just don't like their preference to be me or anything similar to me. Now, I don't like that because I don't like the attention. But other than that, I mean, as long as that doesn't cause harassment, I don't care what their preference is, honestly. Shortcakes K, no disrespect. Most races date their own kinds. You can research it also. I don't understand though, for Black Americans, I think we do that mostly because of our history and the miscegenation laws, really. I think if we were left to our own devices, most of us would be with white people. Reason why is because culturally, we have no boundaries, really, because of the whole situation of our history. And then secondarily, you know, the majority of our options in America is white people. And we have more Hispanic options than we have a black option. So, I mean, of all the population, we only have 13% to choose of black people. So if we were left to our own devices, generally, I think we would generally be with white people because we we don't have much options with ourselves. And secondarily, like I said, culturally, we don't have much of a barrier. We speak the same language. Regionally, we are very culturally similar, things of that nature. So, yeah, I'm not upset. I'm just having fun and conversations. It's all good. Date who you like, sisters. Shortcakes K, yeah. I didn't find any offense in your comments. You're fine. Um, Pretty brown girl. It keeps moving. I'm sorry. I'm so far behind on this, so I cannot find. Okay, so I'm just gonna leave off here because I don't know. I think I went upward. XOX. Well, that's fine. Pretty brown girl Ari. I don't want a guy that has bigger lips than me. Yeah, exactly. It's a feminizing trait. Oh, it's a feminizing trait, honestly. And I don't know. To me, it's just like I don't. I guess I wouldn't care too much if a man had fuller lips than me, if it didn't feel so bad when you kiss him. If I could kiss him and it felt like a man was kissing me, and I could feel the strength and hardness and things of that nature, then I would be okay, you know. But the thing is, it's just not. It's just not like that. It's like basically I'm kissing a girl. I feel like I'm kissing a girl. And that can't be good. I mean, like I'm straight. If I like kissing guys, can I how can I like, you know, kissing a guy who feels like I'm kissing a girl? XOXO. Middle Eastern men are so sexy. Also Turkish. Yes, they are. I prefer Iraqi, Iranian, things of that nature, and like Yemeni, very attractive. Things of that nature. Gulf Arabs, goodness, they're beautiful. Pretty brown girl Ari. I do find Hispanic men attractive, but white men are my preference. I love white men, though. I don't see the big deal with tanned skin. Yeah, I don't know. For me, like I said, I generally get preference from white men after black men. Because for me, the most of the attention I've gotten was black men, then white men who are really fair, like blonde hair, blue eye, and then somewhere in the middle, I guess. But generally, it would be lighter men. So that's why for me, generally, I've dated guys who were white, blonde hair, blue eyed, and fairer skinned white men. And I mean, I never really had any problem with that personally. I mean, like it's worked out for me. So, but you can say, like, for me, like with lighter men, it's kind of like I like them, but like I can like them. Like it's not anything to do with their blonde hair, blue eye, or fair skin. In fact, it might be despite of it. But I do like tan skin more. Like I think that has to do with my heritage and my background and things of that nature. That's why I like Mediterranean men. And like if you look at Middle Eastern and North African men, they all fall under the Mediterranean race. So I just generally like that. And like my father's side has a lot of Mediterranean blood. So that might be why I have more preference towards like olive skin and tan skin and complexions like that. Pretty brown girl. XOXO. Middle Eastern men can be attractive, but white men are just the most attractive to me out of all races. Yeah. I don't know. To me, I actually think that Middle Eastern men are kind of like the same race as Southern European men. To me, I kind of just categorize them all together, kind of thing. I understand they're different ethnicities and things of that nature, but between Middle Eastern men and Southern European men, and sometimes even Hispanic men, they have similar phenotypes. At least the ones I prefer generally do have more of the similar phenotype to each other. I honestly don't mind if my kids come out looking white. Yeah, that's one thing I have a hard time accepting. But I kind of have an issue with myself personally. Like I've said in other videos, generally do not like I do not like when I was a newborn and I was very, very, very uncomfortable with myself, seeing myself that way, that I actually literally thought it was better to think I was a dark-skinned baby boy that was next to me. It was like he was like 1 years old and he was big and he was like lying right next to me. And I was like, every time when I saw that photo, I would just think I was a dark skinned black boy instead of me because I was like I was a lot lighter skinned. I was pink and I was very uncomfortable with that. I could not see myself. And it was like I had an issue with that. But it's just like, I don't know, like I figure like with my kids, I would try to, I would probably, bond over 9 months. I wouldn't care how my kid would look, honestly. But yeah, I don't know. Thanks, Kay. I get you now. You're fun and funny. Happy for you at Anne. Pretty brown girl Ari. I prefer European white men over white men, though. White American men. Yeah, I don't know. A foreign man, like they're more attractive, honestly. I like accents and things of that nature. So that is an appealing thing. But at the same time, I'm really bad at accents, like deciphering what they're saying and also cultural difference. I think people who are culturally similar to me, it's just easier. XOXO. Yes, European men, American men need some competition. competition. They're too spoiled on top of that mediocre. I totally relate to that comment. XOXO. Pretty brown girl Ari. Black women need to let go of wanting kids with melanin because it's very likely that your kids will come out looking white, not having much melanin. Love your kids no matter how they look. Yeah, I mean, like, honestly, if you carry your kid for 9 months and you obviously didn't see your kid for 9 months, I don't really think it really matters how they come out. I think honestly it wouldn't really be an issue because I mean like if you bond it properly, then you probably won't really care how your kid comes out. XOXO, nah. I started to travel there taller in Colombia, Brazil. Yeah, in Brazil, I don't really consider Brazilian people. I don't really consider them Hispanic. I consider them more black or mixed race, in my opinion. The Colombian men, I don't know. I was actually dating a Colombian guy, and he was like, wasn't very tall. Let's just say that. I come from Grand Rapids, and we have Dutch people, so out here it's kind of like different. Dutch people are usually like 6 foot on average, so tall means a whole different thing to me. Pretty brown girl Ari. Canadian men are overrated. Oh my god, I'm getting. I need to jump forward. Canadian men are overrated. Hispanic men do tend to be shorter. I like guys that are over 6 foot or around 6 foot. American men are getting shorter and shorter. A lot of guys around my age are short. Yeah, that's what I mean. I generally, for me, my preference is like over 6 foot. But at this point, I've kind of like gotten to the point where I don't mind. I could go shorter, I guess. But I don't like men who are extremely short. Like, if you're going to be shorter than what I would be as a guy, please don't even bother. If I were a guy, I would be pretty short. But I mean, like, if you are like 5'7", I'm not interested. You know, that is just too much. But if you're like 5'10", 5'11", okay, you know, I'm 5'1", so I guess I have room kind of for that. But I don't like a guy who is less than at least 8 inches taller than me. I know how you feel. I don't like it when black men go for girls like me, short and skinny. I don't want to be their type. Yeah, honestly, when you're black men's ideal type and you don't like them, they keep bothering you. And they keep bothering you and they keep bothering you and getting aggressive if you respond negatively. So if you respond like, no, this is never going to happen and shut the fuck up, you are really in danger. You know, that's why I feel like a lot of people who are like mammies always focus on how to get preference from black men and stuff and act like if you get preference from black men, it doesn't even matter about what you think of it, how you feel about it, or anything of that nature, because all they focus on is the fact that, oh, I wish I was in that situation. Well, you're not me, and I'm not you. So obviously, this is not an ideal situation to be preferred by someone that you are completely repulsed by. Shortcakes, K. Yes, that's also true. 60% white people, 46 to 50 a million black people. That's with the population and other races higher. Shortcakes, okay. And I will give y'all three fine white men: Brad Pitt, Thor, in the movie Jason Mimosa, Chris Klein, JT, Keenan Reeves, Keanu Reeves, Chris Evans. I think those are mixed race, actually, people. Jason Momoa is mixed race, and so is Keanu Reeves. When I say mixed race, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. When I say white, I mean like someone who's 100% white. Brad Pitt is white, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. But I can honestly understand what you're saying. Like, um, I agree. I mean, with your list, I mean that's cool. Yeah. Shortcakes K. Do you like Sicilian Italians? Yeah, for me personally, I prefer Italians, Greek, Spanish, Turkish, even like the Dinaric people and things of that nature. Basically, Southern European men. But honestly, I love Scandinavian men because I'm part Scandinavian, I think. So I think there's some commonality there or something for me. I don't know why that is, but like personally for me, I love Scandinavian men. And I understand they're lighter, but I like their features and um they tend to be bigger, which is a big plus. And just generally, I just find them very attractive. So, yeah, I can basically find any ethnicity of European men attractive on some population, you know. But I'm just saying, largely, who am I more attracted to would be more Southern European. Like, I don't find many English or Irish men attractive as much as I do for Southern European men or Scandinavian men, for example. Or Czech men. Czech men are really nice too because they tend to be taller. I find Henry Cavill attractive, Chris Evans, um, and Ian Somerhalder, David Beckham, the Franco brothers, Hugh Jackman, Robert Pattinson too. Yeah, I used to actually always say that Robert Pattinson was my teen crush because I didn't want to admit my real teen crush, which was a Jewish guy. What's his name? Um, what's his name? Zac Efron. I never wanted to admit him, so I always said that Robert Pattinson was my teen crush back when I was a kid. Um, Shortcakes K. Yes, David Beckham, actor from Mad Men show, John Hamm. Pretty brown girl, Ari. I said underrated. Okay, I'm gonna skip through to get to the front. Short Cakes K. I will say it's not a good batch of. I mean, it's not a good. Yeah, it's not a good batch of good black men to pick from in America. Yeah, I don't know. I tend to think that black men and black women, like, we have a lot of different struggles because of our past and things of that nature. Um, but I feel like there's probably some good black men out there, in other countries and here or wherever. But I really don't really focus on it because, like, I wouldn't, obviously, I'm not looking in the store for like a type of food that I'm not interested in and seeing the availability of it. You see what I mean? So, like, with men and black men, I'm not really concerned about who has like quality black men when I'm not searching for black men, you know? It's only a small amount I gave up 8 to 10 years ago here. I don't know. Like I said, I'm sorry that you had bad experiences, though. I hope you find the man you need and want. Kiki Pilmerton. At Pretty Brown, we don't want to erase ourselves if your kid's half white, if they're not black. Yeah, for me personally, the way I see it with dark skinned black people is like people always encourage them to swirl. And to me, I don't see it like that dark skinned black people must swirl. I think that, if we all swirled, then there would be no dark skinned black people. And I don't want to erase dark skinned black people. Like, that's not a thing that I'd be interested in that happening for, dark skinned black people. They're beautiful people. And we don't have to, because that kind of makes the image that, dark skinned people weren't wanted. So they just basically tried to erase them. And I don't appreciate that. But I mean, just a couple dark skinned black people, finding love where they need to find love is not erasing people because they're always going to be dark skinned black people who are going to keep dark skinned black people's image alive. But on here, I do consider mixed children to be black, honestly. I consider a black to be anything over 25% black. So, brown girl Ari, pretty brown girl Ari. I like Nordic men and Western European men. Hmm. Yeah, I can totally relate with you there with Nordic men. I don't know, like they tend to be bigger, they tend to be more ideal. Shortcakes K, I thought you liked them types Norway men or similar, some are friendly. Yeah, I don't know. I guess some do. Pretty brown girl Ari. I have a huge crush on Henry Cavill. I saw Henry Cavill. Oh yeah, I found him on FaceApp, didn't I? I remember now. Um, yeah, he's handsome, very attractive, actually, if I remember right. He's like dark hair, right? Yeah, I think he has a really ideal look. Shortcakes, K. Robert Pattinson is so kind in the vampire movies. He was so romance. Yeah, I guess so. Pretty brown girl Ari. I can't see a Kiki Palmerson comment. Oh, I'll click on it. I showed it. Can you see it? Okay, pretty brown girl. We don't want to erase ourselves. If your kid's half white, they're not black. Oh, I accidentally hit. But you saw what the comment said, so. Pretty brown girl, dark hair and blue eyes and pale skin, slightly tan. It's fine. Yeah, I don't know. I like dark hair and green eyes. That's one thing with white people that's really, really attractive to me is dark hair and green eyes. Um, a lot of the time, that's like with green eyes, it always seems like it comes with like white or brown hair or blonde hair. But for me, I generally prefer like black hair. That's why for me, like I said, I prefer black people's hair. I like black in color, and then I like really curly hair too. Like I like to start at a 3A, but I guess you could say start at like 2B at the like at the straightest, and then all the way to 4C. I like African hair. I do. Afrocentric hair or things of that nature. At least mixed race hair. I don't generally like straight hair. But I wanted to say that a lot of the time from my experience is that with With black men, I feel like often that they have this fear kind of wanting to be, more like white men. Like that's I think what their insecurity generally is. And that's why there's this whole triggering effect with interracial dating because it's the whole concept of, black women choosing white men over them and not like seeing them as ideal. And, for black men, it's kind of like they never really felt ideal to anyone. So then they always were like they need to feel ideal to black women. And if black women and mixed women can't see them as ideal, then they feel like they're nothing to anyone. And so I think that's why there's that insecurity with them, their identity, their masculinity, and the fact of white men being basically the complete opposite of them and being the standard of masculinity. So that's why, for me, it's just like I kind of feel like a lot of black people, black men, try to put black women down and cut them down because they have that whole insecurity with themselves and they need to feel like they need to put black women down enough so then they can feel like they will go to them. And I felt like personally, this never really, it's like, okay, if I had an attraction to you and I was just being with white men because I think they're better, that's a whole different story than if I am not attracted to you. I could feel like less than shit. It's not going to change anything because I'm still not attracted to you. It doesn't matter how I feel about myself. If I can't feel an attraction, I can't thought. I can't be with the person. I can't be intimate. If I can't be intimate, then I can't really have any preference or interest in a black man other than a friendship. And that's not what we're talking about here. So that's just generally how I feel on this whole topic. Oh, there's a few more questions. I mean, comments. Pretty brown girl. Ari, I prefer straight and wavy hair. Oh, that's cool. And Travels of a Black Rose. Yes, I like white men, Western European, and mixed men. Yeah, me too. That's generally, I think, what my range is. It's basically from the white man to the brown man, basically. But I still do have a fear. Like when we're talking about the look of the person, it's a white man to a brown man. And brown man includes Hispanic men, Indian men, and mixed race men, you know. But at the end of the day, it's still like not it's like for me, I still have that fear kind of like of the whole thing of, down like their package being something I can't really be into. Like if their genitals look like a black man's, then I'm probably not going to be into them. That's why I'm into brown men, but I've never actually been with a brown man. I've been with men who are kind of like olive, but not actually brown for that reason. But yeah, I do like generally white or white to like brown men. And then Travels of a Black Rose. I like Asian men too, Japanese, Korean, Cambodian. They have a real relaxed attitude. Intelligent. They are underrated, a lot of them. I don't know, like I see that a lot of people who you know, open their options do have preference towards Asian men, and yeah, I don't know, it's that's cool. Shortcakes K, I feel you and get you, sis. Yeah, I totally understand that. And I guess I'm gonna be done now. Yeah, this was a long live. Thought this was gonna be actually a short video, and it's very long. I'm gonna make another video actually on masculinity and like a quick set if my voice can handle it, because for some reason I am scratchy today. So I'll either make it now or I will make it like after I go shopping later today. So thanks for listening, and all right, thanks for the conversation and everything. Have a great day. Bye.